Hello and welcome to Eat Your Backyard. This live stream is a Saturday morning live stream. We stream every Saturday and Sunday, or we try to. And in this video, I thought it would be fun to show you how to grow dragon fruit. It's so easy. All you need is a cutting, and I found they're pretty easy to come by. And it's a lot less expensive than buying a dragon fruit plant at a nursery. Typically, they're pretty expensive for some reason. I guess it's the rarity of the cuttings, but if you have somebody in your neighborhood that has a dragon fruit plant, you could always try to trade with them for a cutting that you have in your yard. I usually use sugarcane cuttings, like a couple different colors of sugarcane. Say, hey, because it's so easy to grow. And usually people don't have it, and they always are willing to give me a cutting of whatever. So far, never had anybody say no. They're usually happy that you appreciate their stuff. You wondering what this is? Oh, you know what this is. This is chicken time. This is the morning on our little suburban simulated farm. Those little hens are ready to come out. Now I have the world's simplest chicken pen door. Just simply curve it in, and it's like a pressure fitting, but they never push out. They're very gentle birds. Got to finish this little chicken fence along here, but I'm going to put them right back in here to free range in their little bug paradise. It's already opened up, so we can just channel them right in. We'll watch the magic of the mealworms do their work before we go and plant some cactus cuttings. Why rush in? Why rush? It's Saturday morning. Oh, yeah. Oops. Would you like? See, the way I made this system here was just I used a fence latch, like the kind you would to latch a fence shut, which makes it really easy. And then it's locked up in here with this mechanism so that it won't fall back down on the chickens, right? And then to release it, you have to pull this up. So I like that. And I made it long enough that I can just pull it up, make sure it's locked before I let it go. Hey, Poncy, always first. Top hen. They know exactly what to do. The else's. It's a very calm process. Come on, chick, chick. No, if I get them too excited, they'll get confused. Here, chick, chick. Come on, chick, chick. Can't believe they're not. Come on, chick, chick. Come on, chick, chick. It's interesting, I gave them just a couple worms and now they are totally motivated. Come on. Oh, okay. If I put this bag down on the ground, they are going to snatch it out so fast. There you go. The early bird gets the worm. Come on, chick, chick. 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 Come on. That's the spirit. I knew we could do this peacefully. Now, I'm going to actually just take a decent handful and spread it out so that they have something to do. Like, look at that. Yeah. This is their morning treat. Now they can just spend a little while finding those worms. They love it, and then they'll move on to eating all the bugs down here. All right, let's get on to dragon fruit growing. And this really is the first step of dragon fruit growing, which is to have proper nutrients flowing to it. If you want it to produce fruit, you're going to need to, pay attention to making sure that it gets enough nutrients. And the way I do that is with the animal component, so to speak, which is crucial to your yard as well. It's good to realize that things like cow manure, though, don't have much nutrients at all. So, what I use is bunny manure and chicken manure, which are very high in nutrients. There you go, chickie-doos. Usually they fly up on the roosting bar. For some reason, that's very gratifying to see. Yeah, very content chickens. If you're wondering what owning chickens is like, as I did not that long ago, we have to actually put up fencing to restrict them from eating everything. They tagged this Roselli down to nothing. They will just annihilate everything. So you want to prevent that, I would say, from happening, unless you don't mind that. This is something they love, the moringa. All right, let's go look at dragon fruit. I'm going to start off by showing you what it looks like in the pot after you have. It's very easy to start in pots or in the ground. Like I said, as long as you have a cutting, and I'll show you the particulars of the cutting technique. Okay, so we're back at my little grow table here. And here is a dragon fruit that I took a cutting of maybe 4 months ago. And it is well rooted. Since then, it has already grown this top piece here. So the cutting was just that original piece. And this is ready to be planted. If I take this out, I'm confident I'll have roots on the bottom of this pot. I'll put that back in there, but that's what it looks like. Now, that size pot works well for me too. And just as a side note, growing things in containers, in Florida, you need to, in the summer, you need to have some kind of shade cover. I use this sea grape as a natural cover, but I experimented with 2 different types of pots, primarily. There's this plastic type pot. I'll try to leave a link in the description if you're like me, we're trying to decide which ones are the right ones. So I got this type and I tried this type, and they're both good, but this type has the real soft thing, and some of them have cracked. These also crack on impact and get brittle, so I don't know that either one is better, but I like the way these just fit together. So if you have a grow rack, you can just fit them all together, whereas the circles are always like kind of that. So anyway, when I get more pots, I'm choosing this type. All right, I'll show you. I planted some down here on the base of this soft tip yucca. You can see the yucca is just going off. Now you can eat the petals on the yucca, and they're actually on there right now. If you see those white, I'm gonna try to zoom in. My new phone should be able to handle it. There we go. Yeah, so there's the white petals. They taste like almonds. And, good to know that you can eat them. Now, am I going to climb up there to get them? Probably not. They'll probably drop down and become a return of nutrients to the garden, which is fine. If they were a little lower, I would, which is a good reason to keep this thing trimmed. And the soft tip yucca, while we're on a tangent here, the soft tip yucca is very easy to grow from cuttings. Bigger than this, though. You just slice it off and grow it. You want to have a woody part to the cutting that's decent. Like this would probably grow as a cutting, believe it or not. They'll grow as huge cuttings. But really the key is to keep it down on size if you want to eat it. Tempting, or just grow it like a tree so it's super high up, but it will produce these skirts you have to keep pulling off the dead leaves. All right. Here's some dragon fruit I also planted. They're all doing well. I have not seen them send out any shoots yet, but oh no, I'm wrong. One of them has. We got some significant rain, so I would suspect they would. So there you go. That is a new shoot. So one of them has sent out a shoot. It looked like this one had got blown over, but this was a very large cutting. You can take 3-section cuttings. You could take very large cuttings. I like to take just 1-section cuttings. Oh, look at this. Okay, it looks like the base of this may have rotted out a bit. Yeah, that's the disadvantage of planting things that are not fully dry. This cutting, all these cuttings, I didn't let the ends dry. That's a good technique you can do to prepare your cuttings, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Oh yeah, this one has two little growths that have happened. So I planted these about the same time I planted them in this pot. Now you might wonder why are there 4 planted there? What's up with that? And then on this thing I planted 2. And keep in mind they will attach. You got to kind of continuously train them up like this one. They will attach to wood and structures, and so you just lean them up there, and as they grow, I'll show you an example of that too, how the roots grow out, and they'll grow like an ivy up against a fence. They'll attach to wood quite easily and readily. You can see the little roots on this one stretching out. But why do you plant so many? And here's the reason. If you're planting them for fruit, you want to have many separate plants because that increases the amount of chances you have for flowers and therefore fruit. So one dragon fruit plant will produce, I've seen mine produce 6 fruit at a time, and then it's a long period of time before the next one. So if you plant lots of cuttings, you have the opportunity of having a decent amount of dragon fruit, which is probably what you want. And that's the same reason you plant bananas like this in a clump, right? Is that you want many growing all at the same time. And then they come in sporadically, and you get an almost continuous flow. Like, look at this. Look at those bananas. Really incredible. And by the way, if you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button, the thumbs up, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. If you're new to the channel, welcome. It's interesting, these videos take on a life of their own over time as people encounter them. Eat Your Backyard has now been on the internet about 10 years. I have to actually go do the math, but it's at least 9. All right. So yeah, the banana patch. And this is an interesting thing too, is that these bananas are 3 different kinds of bananas. We've got the apple banana, the Orinoco banana, and the Musa. All good varieties for Florida, all good varieties for a backyard, in my opinion. Musa being the largest, perhaps Orinoco second, and then the apple. But having 3 varieties makes it even better, right? Same idea, but now you're expanding on that. And then if you could have 3 varieties of dragon fruit, that would be even better here. But unfortunately, I only have 1. Now, there are 3 varieties of dragon fruit that I'll tell you about. I'll see if I can remember them correctly. There is the yellow-skinned fruit with the white center, right? And they have those little black seeds. There is the red-skinned fruit with the white center. And then I believe there is the red-skinned fruit with the red center. I believe that's the 3 types. And I'm not sure if there are more, but that's the 3 I've been told of. I have the yellow variety. All right, so let's go look at an example of where I've planted some. And you can see I've even planted it around on this fence here, because this is an older fence. Eventually it's gonna fall down, right, or be replaced. But still, in the meantime, good way to grow this up. You can see all these little cuttings that I recently planted are doing it. And now I'll look to see if any of those little roots have stretched out. And oh, you can just see it there, hopefully. See how the little white roots have attached to that fence. So that's pretty cool. And I've got an edible Nepalese pad cactus right here. These are edible. It's a thornless cactus. It does have little irritating hairs on it, but it's another good edible cactus. All right. Ooh, Eureka Palm. By the way, these are edible. Taste like bananas. And have just about 100% germination rate. Really, really good. And prolific seed producers. So easy to grow. I know if I throw these anywhere, they're they're gonna sprout. I might throw a few in the ground here. Okay, so here's some cuttings that I recently took. As you can see, I got quite a few. Some actually suffered some hail damage. See that damage? That's from hail. We had a hailstorm. Most of it is grown, has grown past that, so the damaged pieces are all out of it. But check this out. This is one implementation of a dragon fruit plant, cactus, and that is to grow it up a sea grape, which has been tree formed as a trellis. Check that out. It's nuts. Pretty healthy, and you can see the roots. You can also see the damage down here from the hailstorm. Probably get rid of that too sometime in the future, but I need to actually plant several more there, so I'm going to leave some of the cuttings, but we'll go ahead and plant one in a pot so you can just see the general flow. While I'm at it, I'll go ahead and plant these. This is a totally dead, unutilized corner of my yard that I finally decided to do something with. And I just threw cuttings back here, and it's growing like crazy. Now, you can see how it's overgrown with weeds here. I just threw a handful there. I have 100% certainty we're getting palm trees there. But yeah, so little cuttings that I had, like this croton, beautiful. Isn't that cool? So easy to grow certain types of crotons from cuttings. Got this roselli. Look at that. That's another edible, tastes like cranberries. Threw in some sugar cane, red sugar cane. We got a sunflower rocking. Ooh, sunflower's ready. Oh no. Sunflower is ready to be rabbit food. We need to pick that today. But oh no, we had a little moringa tree that was growing there, and it is gone. Squirrels ate my moringa tree. Well, that's how it goes. But here's one that they didn't eat. They'll still chew on it from time to time, but nice moringa. All right, I'm gonna grab a prime cutting from the pile. Prime cutting, and you want to orient them, up in the pot, of course, right? Because you could put them upside down. You can tell, what side is up because of the way that it's shaped. And it's like on the top of this hump, there's the little cactus thorn. They're really mellow cactus thorns, though, so you don't have to worry about it. This is a nice cutting. Now look at this. When you take the cutting, the key is to take it at the woody growth, because you don't want a wet, cutting. It can rot. You saw on the one cutting that I showed you growing next to that yucca, where it had actually rotted out where it touched the ground. You don't want that. So it's better to cut it here. And when you take the cutting, it's also better to give it a day or two and, to callus up, to scab up, or whatever you want to call it. Like, that's why I left these laying here, is because it dries out and now it's not a, high potential rotting point on this cutting. That's super important. For me, that's the most important thing to do with these cuttings, is give them time to rest or whatever. But you know what? For growing in a pot, you can't beat this type. The single, this is how I usually like to plant them. Hey, Camel, welcome. Good to see you on the stream. But yeah, I'm going to just grow it from a single cutting. I even took one that was a Y-shaped cutting, but these are pretty gnarly cuttings. They don't look good to start, so I don't think I'm going to be putting them out anywhere that they can be seen necessarily. But this size cutting, that'll work every time. It's not too big. I don't want something that's really tall. When we grow them in pots, oh, by the way, just talk about how easy cactuses are to grow. Look at this. I've got to clean this up, put it back in the chicken cage, actually, and they will chow down these fresh new cactus pads, which are totally fine to eat because they don't have spines on them when they're like this. Yeah, the dragon fruit absolutely go off here. They love the conditions. So anyway, these were from a fallen pad cactus, and we just, kind of left them there to see what would happen, and they all sprouted just from laying on the ground. Some bamboo leaves gathered up, so I'll transfer that. So that overgrown area of the corner there that I showed you, a year ago, I would have seen that as an overgrown area, but now I see it as a hayfield as well. If you saw that crabgrass growing, it is being harvested by us and fed to the bunnies and the chickens who love the crabgrass. It's like fresh green hay to them. So stoked on that. All right, let's see. I really just need to find a pot that's got some soil in it, that doesn't have something growing in it. And the soils I have back here are pretty decent, so I'm not really worried about it. But what I will do, oh, look at that, a moringa tree. All right. I need to do something with you. It seems like cruel and unusual punishment for a moringa tree to be, and I know where you can replace the last one that was eaten. All right, let's see. Oh, here's a pot. Here's one. Yes, perfect. It's already at the right depth too. And I'll throw some rabbit manure in here too. But the process is just so simple. Really, I just use my hand, of course. Really, all you're doing is making a little hole that's about 2, maybe 3 inches, half the length of the cutting, so I want it to be about halfway buried. And then I'm going to plant it cutting side down in this case, but correctly oriented to grow up. And then you just pack it into those 3 little triangular pockets. And that's it. Now, since this soil is already wet, we had a rainstorm last night, there's nothing more I need to do. And it is absolutely ready to be just like that other cutting I showed you in no time. 3 months, 3 to 4 months. This is something anybody could do. You don't need to have a backyard, maybe just have a patio. You could do this inside too. But in my case, I've just grown it everywhere. So I finally decided to get a real yield. That's another permaculture concept, which is to get a yield, ensure a yield. And I decided I did want a yield from this, which is fruit. I plan on putting it in my dehydrator and making dry dragon fruit chips. So, Camel, I saw your question about what variety do I have. I only have one variety, and I'd like to get the other 2. I just haven't moved out on that yet, but I plan to this year. I have the yellow kind with the white inside. Yep. So, the old dragon fruit. Doing quite well. See how these chickens have adjusted to their morning grazing routine. Pretty good. Aren't they great chickens? These and this is what a happy chicken sounds like for sure. Hey, Rob G. Yeah, they grow great in Florida. Hey, Palms. Ooh, did you see that one? Rhode Island Red hybrid. She puffs her neck up like that. It's interesting. They do that when they challenge each other. Oh yeah, it's live, Damos, Megan. We are live. We are live broadcasting chickens. It's so interesting to see. If you want to know the effect of a chicken or what a chicken will eat or that kind of thing, I found it fascinating to learn all that. Okay, so this is a oyster plant. Beautiful, by the way, very easy to grow. It has the underside that's purple. It has this shiny, beautiful structure to it. Hey, Trevor, thanks for jumping on the stream. I appreciate it. Yeah, time to plant just a dragon fruit clump. Many separate plants and produce a yield of fruit as soon as possible. So look at these oyster plants. Okay, so I grow them all over as ground cover. I think they're a great ground cover. There's some medicinal uses for them. You can look that up, but I'm not going to go into that here. Anyway, the point is they're edible. And how do I know? Well, the chickens consume them as fast as they can. They love the oyster plant. look at the oyster plant that's outside. Now their chicken necks are about 3 or 4 inches long through the fence here. They can, and they have mowed down every one of these down to a nub. Total chicken apocalypse. So hey, what do you know? They also seem to like this plumeria. So you have everything that is close to the chicken cages has been chewed up. They absolutely love to eat veg. This is a favorite chicken treat. We constantly have these weeds growing in all the time, and I realized that this is just about the favorite food of the chicken. This is a chicken treat and then some. I mean, they freak out over this thing. Like I said, that crabgrass that normally would have irritated me, now I'm harvesting it and using it. And these chickens will convert it to manure as fast as you can throw it in their cage. All right. All right. How they saw me picking those weeds and they went to the spot where I always go to throw them the weeds. Yeah, they're stoked. Okay, creatures. Is this what you want? Oh, I think so. I do think so. Look, if I do it that way, only the 2 top hens will get it. So I'm gonna throw it in and they can compete for it like crazy chickens. I'm gonna hold the camera down here. Here we go, holding it over and go. Chickens eat weeds. You got weeds? Oh, maybe you should let wild rabbits in your yard? Yeah, I'm not that crazy about wild rabbits personally. But I like captive rabbits. They make great pets, and they also produce the highest grade cold fertilizer you're gonna find. You put a couple rabbits in some cages, you know, as pets, and you can harvest bunny manure at levels unimagined. Yeah, sometimes you see 1 or 2 rabbits, and then you see 100 rabbits. It's hard to see. I've started to see them around here down at the beach, believe it or not. And we have a lot of cats down at the beach, so it surprises me. But yeah, they've started to. Little red rabbits. Yeah, look at them turn that into, well, they're going to turn into eggs soon. Excuse me. Again, need a cough button on YouTube. Or you talk for a long time. And they just mow it down to a certain level and clear it out. I mean, what is it? Rent ducks. You can rent a flock of ducks to clear off land. Just pen them in, and they'll just eat it all. Love it. I mean, it's like duck's dream come true. But ducks are very messy in the sense that you need to have a wet area for them. So I'm only allowed to have here, but yeah, no wild horses. I'll tell you, if I could, I would almost consider upping the game to a goat. That's how nutty this is becoming. Certainly. Well, it is almost time to let the rabbits out for their exercise. Maybe I'll go ahead and do that. See if I gotta be able to do it safely. I might have to put the phone down. Hey there. All right. Let's see. Sweet little Penelope or Thumper? Hey, Thumps. What do you think? I think I might try Penelope here. Need to get their food set up. So they got plenty of hay. Rabbits require continuous hay. It's funny, they move their pad around. These are the world's most gentle rabbits, in my opinion, the Lionhead rabbit. See, she come. Rabbits are so cool. Oh, you sweet little girl. Look at you. You want to get out and play? She knows what comes next. I'm going to put the phone down so I can get a firm grip on her. Mission accomplished. There you go, Penelope. Right to the sugar cane. Yeah, she loves the sugar cane. We haven't had the chickens in here in a while, and I have a yard guy. He doesn't go in here typically, so it's kind of overgrown, but that's fine because the chickens and the bunnies just eat it. You know, everything in the yard is just fertilized naturally with bunny manure and worm tea and all that, and chicken manure. Oh, camel, that's a great secretary bird. If I get a wild animal, yeah, I would say, I'd have to think about that. Yeah, I guess it depends on the criteria. Maybe a lion. Pet lion. All right, there you go. Look at that. Yeah, but I almost have a pet lion. I have a pet Lionhead bunny, so I'm halfway there. Penelope is a single mane Lionhead bunny. You might wonder how much a Lionhead bunny costs. I wondered that. Like, what are we talking about here? $35. That's how much they cost. And it's interesting because we found these bunnies when we were going to investigate getting chickens because I wanted to add the animal component, and then learned about bunnies and decided, no, I gotta get one. Gotta get some. Can't just get one. So Penelope and Thumper are actually brother and sister. You have to keep them separated though, because if not, we will have bunnies in 30 days from that moment. Isn't she beautiful? Man. And there is something about watching a rabbit, especially a rabbit down free to dig and do what these rabbits do. Look, she found her hole. What you gonna do, Penelope? Sometimes she'll just go and watch out of here. But it's interesting, if we live out into the wider yard, it is very, very hard to catch a rabbit. They are still really wild creatures. So, you know, as soon as they get out into the open air, so to speak, they just want to go dig a hole, go deep. So. And if you leave her in this cage long enough, she would eventually dig out. A rabbit will always dig out. But I do have that. You see the wire along the bottom here? I use a lot of recycled materials and stuff in here. But the point is, I buried the wire down and under the soil, so it's, she'll reach wire. Oh, I love that idea, Roger. Yeah, about putting the cardboard down to prevent the weeds. Yeah, cardboard as a weed barrier. That is absolutely a killer life hack in the garden. Yeah, I'm constantly putting the cardboard into the worm farm because the worms absolutely love it. The red wigglers. What's she doing, Penelope? You gonna eat up all those pigeon pea leaves? It's a pigeon pea right here. Everything in here is edible on purpose. I mean, everything in my whole yard is just about edible, with a few exceptions. I try to make it so that they have a really cool environment to interact with. She sure does love that sugarcane leaf, though. And then we'll let out little thumps. Yeah, that's a major issue with the weeds inside the grass. Pigeon pea is fantastic, Roger says, for turning sandy soil back to dirt. Outstanding. Outstanding, yeah, because so much dropping of leaves, so much, that I would think would be, they say this is a pioneer plant in permaculture. It's considered to be one of these key pioneer plants, because it can solve so many things. grows so fast that I'm planting it here for a number of functions in my system. One of the functions is, of course, the yield I get from it in organic, the peas and the leaves. But the other function is for the sun protection. It's really hot in here, and that's a major problem I'm trying to solve. I planted a bunch of stuff, but this fig tree loses its leaves this time of year from the rust it gets every year. So it becomes very hot, so I really need to... So I planted a few things, like this Persian mulberry, for instance. I'm going to grow that right over the rabbit hutch. They actually eat the mulberry. This is, by the way, great mulberry, Persian mulberry, but this one will grow right over the thing and provide a nice little shade, natural shade. But until then, I can use things like pigeon peas, which grow up so fast and provide the shade. They'll also provide a windbreak. And I'm using them in that same way. Enjoy, Penelope. Using them in the same way back here. So I'm trying to actually grow them on both sides of this fence because I need this shade issue to be resolved. The interesting thing is this time of year, that's west and this is east. The sun almost tracks directly overhead this time of year in Florida. So this area, even though it's got a huge mango tree, Hayden mango tree, blocking it. By the way, the yield from this mango tree this year was inconceivable to me. I've never seen anything even close to it in the years I've been here. And that's because of the turds and the worm tea, I'm sure. The rabbit manure and the worm tea. But anyway, despite the fact that it's shielded from sun during the winter, during the summertime, it gets jammed. So it's doing pretty well up against the fence, which radiates a lot of heat back at it. Survived 2 waves of bug attacks, caterpillars, which we just picked off by hand, fed to the chickens. And then I think a leaf-boring insect of some type got into it. And I haven't fully done much about that, so I don't think I will. I think I'm just going to let it run its course, but I might remediate a little with some... make the old mixture to get rid of the pests, the secret mixture. Here's that cardboard in the worm farm. Yeah, I need to water that. It looks like it's getting dry on the top. Not good. Let's see if we can... Oh, look at this. Observe the chicken. The natural roosting instincts of the chicken. They are perching in a Barbados cherry tree. That fence on the other side is just a little too far away for them to possibly get to fly over. We haven't clipped their wings, so they're fully capable of flying. But they live the life. They come out here every day in the shade and the ocean breezes and just eat bugs. Yeah, the mowing, get the electric mower, a robot mower, robot mower, that's bold. I knew a kid when I was very young who was in a bad lawnmower accident. Ugh. Yeah, frequent mowing. You know what they say, though, with the St. Augustine grass, at least, is that if you, if you fertilize it enough, it is so strong it chokes out the weeds. I'll show you what I mean in my yard actually here in a sec. But that's pretty cool to see these chickens perching. We provide them with so many, like a natural roosted perch down here, a nice straight one. They use them all. They eat bugs to their heart's content, jump up on that thing. Usually eat bugs to their heart content again, jump up on that thing, then go up in the coop and sleep. Chicken life. Now look at this area. This is an area that just got infested with weeds of all types. Crabgrass and everything else. Like you can look here. There's dandelion, whatever type things. And Bermuda grass. Yes, Bermuda grass was unstoppable. Unstoppable. I think Bermuda grass is unstoppable. And you'll see that in here, this grass is St. Augustine all intermingled with Bermuda grass. It's like a mix, and it's great. And all I fertilize it with is bunny manure. I used to use that Scott's Bonus S, and then I read on the label it said, kills weeds, kills this. I was like, what? Nah, I don't really want that. So bunny manure, not killing anything, but it makes because if I'm going to put pesticides and things that kill weeds on stuff I plan to feed to chickens that then I eat the eggs, it's the obvious why you don't want to put that on your lawn. But yeah, the bunny manure just has made it so strong. I'm not even seeing any of the other weeds in here. It's like it just grew through it. And you can see there's some areas where it's predominantly that Bermuda grass. Problem with the Bermuda grass being this tall, of course, is that it gets this thin look to it. It's not meant to be. If you look at this, they use this on football fields and everything. They trim it down real low, and when you do that, it grows real tight, and it's great. But when you grow it this tall, it just kind of does this. But this is fine for our purpose. And then the St. Augustine will just power through it, and runners, and eventually do its thing. But again, it's all about the nutrients, and ours is 100%. Yeah, the weed mat thing, I like the cardboard idea best, just because it seems like you could sustain that. I'll give you an example. The place where I picked the weeds from earlier to feed the chickens, that's all got weed mat down there. So eventually you get enough soil in there. So if you have a longer term approach, it's better, I think. Just easier. How cold hardy is the St. Augustine? No, I don't think it's very cold hardy. I think it's primarily a tropical type of grass. It's widely used in Florida. That's for sure. Spongy, very spongy, like it's trimmed very high too. But I gave up on trying to not have weeds in my lawn, because the only way to really not have any weeds in your lawn is to use pesticides, herbicides. And that's, to me, not worth it. Yeah. It's interesting to see how the yard does this time of year. This is now when we start getting more rain. So when you start getting more rain, of course, you start getting more growth. And we go through sort of a dormant period in Florida in the early summer, where we get very dry. Very dry. Oh, Palm, if you don't have access to cardboard, Palms was asking, is there anything else that could be used as like a weed barrier, I think. That's what he means. She means. He means. I don't know. Palms. Anyway, what I used as a weed mat under the river rocks that I have in that bed is this black kind of interwoven material you can get at any Lowe's, Home Depot type place. I've seen a lot of weeds growing directly out of that, like the seed sprouted on top of it and grew it, or the weed grew right through it. So, but it is effective for a fair amount of time. It's just once you get enough sediment built up in there, stuff's gonna grow. Yeah, any brown cardboard is the key. Like if you could just get access to brown cardboard, like if you order anything off the internet from Amazon or whatever, it usually comes in that brown cardboard. I use all of that. None of that stuff goes to waste in my yard, because that's all food. Now, I'm not trying to prevent the weeds now in my yard, which is kind of bizarre, but like normally, again, this would bother me that I have things, growing in here. But what I have growing in here is a type of weed called nutsedge. I've spent a lot of time just kind of learning what the edibles are, what the different weeds and natural plants are that grow. This is one of them. See, nutsedge, type of grass. Chickens love it. It's like free hay. So this one's about ready to harvest. Just shake out the roots. And we got a chicken treat. Got a chicken toy. Free chicken food. Every bit of this they eat is one less beak full of crumble they're pecking at tonight. Yeah, look at them. See, they see this in my hand. they came to the spot. Oh, you know. What's the sound? Oh, you want some? Yes, you do. There they go. Oh, did you see? Did you see Ponzi back off? Blondie? That was interesting. Chicken behavior. And I put all these sea grapes here where I feed them the weeds because sea grapes are a really rigid leaf, but I still want to compost. There was more than I could reasonably fit in my compost bin, so I just threw a lot of it back here, and I know they'll scratch at it and peck at it and put manure on it, and they'll turn it into compost. They'll turn it into mulch, especially if I encourage them to be on top of it all the time. But I can see even just in this small amount of time, they've been pecking at it and scratching at it and starting to break it down. Over time, it'll be just broken down into beautiful. Oh, I'd love to, yeah, no doubt. I harvested a lot of oak leaves this year for my front yard. Oak leaves are the gold. If you can put the oak leaves back in here, they will be loving that. I have put oak leaves back here over the years, but you know, oak leaves are highly acidic, but fruit typically loves the acidic pH, so it's not. Yep. Anyway, it's that easy. It's really that easy. Growing dragon fruit or whatever else. So, oh, my Jamaican cherry. There's so many flowers on it. No, I don't grow any of those things. But I do grow Jamaican cherries. Look at this. Ah, here we are. Even better. Oh no. Yeah, since we don't have the chickens out on the lawn anymore, I don't feel quite as bad as I dropped them on the lawn. There's Jamaican cherry. Two of them. This one's not as ripe, but it's still definitely able to be eaten. Just since this one dropped on the lawn, I'm not going to eat it without washing it off or whatever, but I'd wash it off now. We got animals jumping around. You never know. Nobody ever regretted being smart about a decision like that. You know, once you eat it, you know, oh, I don't feel so good for a day or two. All right, let's see. You chickens? Chick, chick, chick. You think they like it? That was cool. Actually, I had a queen palm over here, and it recently died from the fungi amungi. Probably are aware of the fungi amungi. There's one. Look at that. I bet you the chickens would eat that. But the point is, this was the result. If your queen palm or any palm gets this fungus, I've talked about this actually in the live stream yesterday, but it's interesting to see it in the sun. It's such a cool thing. I mean, it's a destroyer of palms, but you got to admit, it's pretty cool. If your palm gets this sucker, you're done. Over and out. So, I applied all permaculture principles to this. The logs are over there as an edge. I'm going to move this one too. Now that I've got this fungus, I've got to be careful about cleaning the tools I use to deal with it because it'll spread. I'll show you something. The wilt still killing. Yeah, they can get the wilt, right, exactly. You kind of have to have queen palm redundancy because they're a little susceptible here and there to stuff. But look at this one. So I trimmed. This is a somewhat famous Eureka Palm. It was one of the most popular videos in Eat Your Backyard is the Eureka Palm stump and reclump. This is a vigorous palm for years. I just trimmed it just all the time, fed it, you know, good nutrients all the time. The point is that I trimmed that tree with the saw, and then I trimmed this tree with the saw, and then they both got the fungus. There's the fungus on this one. A little bit different, but it's the same stuff. You're done. You're done. And you can see where it's grown in, you know, that's dead, and then it's expanded here too. So these are dying. They will be dying. You can see it's got the nar occurring. Whew, that lizard almost jumped on my shirt. We love our little lizards. Look at this guy. There you go. Smile. What do you do? Your neck? Show the neck. It's interesting, they could become rather tame. They'll even sometimes jump on your hand once they get used to you. And they stay in the same territory. They're territorial. Now they have competition for the bugs. There's the fresh fungi, and so this is doomed. Oh, yeah, look at this. What you grow now, what you would consider growing. I grew this as an attempt to see what this edible will be like. You know, sometimes people eat dandelion greens. I just grew these seeds. These commonly grow around here as a weed. Let me see, I'm gonna actually put the phone down for a sec. Yeah, all I did was just top it. It'll come right back. But again, that's really bitter. I wouldn't recommend it as a vegetable at all. For humans, however, guess who loves it? Uh-oh, Blondie figured out how to roost on the croton. Hope she's not planning on jumping over. Blondie, I don't think I like you there. Can you jump down from there, please? Discourage you from being on that. All right, here you are, chickens. You think they like it? I mean, bitter. So the other birds can get it. That's the problem with putting it in the front, is only the dominant hens get it. So it's better to sprinkle it around. That way they all can get it. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Yep, so feeding the chickens, growing dragon fruit, you know, normal Saturday morning. Oh, wow, no fruit and they're 20 feet tall. Yeah, that's a bummer. No fruit and 20 feet tall. Uh-oh, Blondie's back on the... Well, we're just gonna have to see. I'm not pleased about that development at all. Really don't want them getting out, but if they get out, they're just into the next area of the yard. They can't really get out. Last thing I want is chickens roaming through the city streets here. I think that might not be a good thing. All right, but you know what? Yeah, I think that's why the idea of planting a dragon fruit clump is so important. You've really got to have many, like, 10 different plants to maximize your odds. Like you would have a banana, you wouldn't just wait for a banana to grow 2 years. Nice. Well, maybe it'll, just go off and you'll have a bumper crop. Make those dragon fruit chips. You chick chick. You chick chick. You chick chick. You chick chick. Early bird gets the worm. These, I always say it, but the black fly soldier larvae or whatever they're called, the good larvae, I feed them all the time. They are well fed. Look, they went by those. Here, chick, chick. Right here. In there. You didn't see where I put it? So once one chicken does it, they all do it. But Yeah, that's cool to have a lot of cuttings. If nothing else, they're just a really cool looking cactus. Cool to grow it up palm trees and stuff sometimes. Oh yeah, see the full wings, the full wing expansion, flight feathers fully ready. Ooh, see how Penelope's doing. Let's see how Penelope's doing. What does the life of a rabbit consist of? What really happens to... Let's look to see what we've got. Look, Penelope, you're busted. You're busted. I know what you've been doing. You're a white rabbit with dirt all over your face. What have you been doing? You're resting. Looks like you're panting. Been exercising. Well, she's actively aerating the pigeon pea soil. Yeah, that's good. That's good. She's ready to go back in the cage now. Because she's ready to just do this. Believe me. We found if you get them enough exercise, they're just so tranquil. And it could be time to get a little Thumper out of here, too. Thumper, we'll be back for you, don't worry. Your turn next. There it is, Penelope, the happy rabbit. You know it would be even better. This would be, I just had an idea. You know, you see a rabbit like that, you almost want to feed it a fresh carrot. This carrot patch was going off earlier this year, but the chickens did decimate it beyond all recognition. But like, some of these carrots are still, yes, carrots. And you can't just pick one because you have to give one to each rabbit. It's a little one. Some of these might be pretty big. Ooh, look at that one. That's a decent sized one. Well, I'll tell you what, one rabbit's bigger than another. Penelope, the female rabbit, is huge. These are decent. Yep, it's true what they say. Rabbits like carrots. And I think they like the greens almost more than the carrot itself. Let's see, if Penelope is so tired, she might not even be interested. She might be interested if you let her smell the essential oils of the carrot. What do you think? She might be asleep too. That's the other thing. Rabbits sleep with their eyes open. Do they smell that? Or taste it? No? No. She's in full meditation mode. You're not getting in there. That is the face of a Zen master. However, Thumper, on the other hand, well, that's another story. Come on, Thumps. Want a carrot? Want a carrot? Oh, you definitely do. There you go. Enjoy. Thumper got his carrot, and Penelope, I'll put your carrot in the cage for later. Nothing like fresh vegetables. They say it's very good to include that in your rabbit's diet. In fact, it'd be great if I could go 100% from fresh vegetables with these rabbits. Get off the rabbit food thing. This afternoon, I got to clean this chicken coop. It's about time. The bedding has been in there long enough. Put in a fresh layer. Kind of pumped on that. I'll put all those chips in the compost bin. Yeah, and then this spring I'm going to make a bunch of videos about, sorry, this fall I'm going to make a bunch of videos about gardening with using the soil that I'm generating in these massive compost bins now. Really excited about that. Should just get a huge vegetable yield from that, and a continuous flow of the bunny manure, which I've actually got a 5-gallon bucket full of bunny manure over here that I need to deal with, process, whatever. Yeah, but that's a treasure. I got to pick out where I want to put it. I might just do some more lawn fertilization too. This is a little sparse in here, and you know it's because of the lack of light. But we've got these bamboo sticks we're going to be building that chicken fence with. Probably build that later today. Maybe I'll post a stream when we do that. But anyway, thanks for jumping on the stream, everybody. I appreciate it. Again, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please. Tell all your friends, come subscribe to Eat Your Backyard. And I'll see you at the next live stream. I'll probably stream tomorrow, every Saturday and Sunday. We got a live premiere coming out every Wednesday evening. And now I am getting in the rhythm of releasing a short, like a minute or less video every day in the morning around 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if you subscribe, you'll see those notifications. Thanks for watching. Eat Your Backyard. Have a great day.